You know, in the grim darkness of the far future, there are a lot of factions, but few really nail that tragic hero vibe, quite like the Blood Angels. On the surface, they're everything you'd want in a savior, humanity's finest, these perfect warriors in stunning crimson and gold armor. But, and there's always a but in 40K, right? Beneath all that nobility, there's this absolutely terrifying, soul-crushing secret. So we're going to dive right into that today, this wild duality of angels and monsters.
I mean, this quote really just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? Everything that makes the Blood Angels who they are, their incredible glory, their skill, their rage, and yeah, their tragedy, it all comes back to one person, their Primarch, Sanguinius. It's like they've inherited both this incredible legacy of greatness and this deep, unavoidable pain.
All right, so to really get a handle on their curse, we've got to start with their perfection. I know that sounds weird, but trust me. We need to look at who the Blood Angels were supposed to be and who they're still desperately trying to be. Because by just about every measure, they are the absolute gold standard of what a Space Marine is meant to be.
And this is what's so fascinating about them, right? This mix of traits. We're not just talking about your typical brutal, unthinking soldiers here. No. These guys are famous for their love of art and beauty. They're poets, they're sculptors, who just happen to also be some of the most terrifyingly effective shock troops in the galaxy. It's this drive for perfection in literally everything they do that makes the rest of the Imperium just look up to them as heroes.
And where does that drive come from? Well, it all goes back to their Primarch, Sanguinius. Look, this guy wasn't just another general. He was something more, a symbol of hope for the entire human race. I mean, he was physically perfect, had these massive, beautiful white wings, and a personality so pure that even his often jealous brothers couldn't help but love him. He was literally an angel. And the Blood Angels, they were made to be just like him.
But, well, this is 40K, so you know that golden age wasn't going to last. The single greatest betrayal in all of human history was about to go down, and it wouldn't just tear the galaxy in two. It was going to inflict a wound so deep in the soul of the Blood Angels that it would never, ever heal. And yeah, we're talking about the Horus Heresy, the moment that changed everything for them.
Okay, so picture this. 10,000 years ago, a galactic civil war just explodes. Horus, the Emperor's #1 son, his most trusted war master, turns to chaos. He convinces half of the Space Marine legions to join him, and they wage war on their own father. The whole thing comes to a head at the ultimate battle for Earth, the Siege of Terra. And it's right there, at the absolute climax of it all, that Sanguinius has to face his destiny.
Now this is the really crucial part. Sanguinius knew. He absolutely knew he was going to die. He'd seen it in visions, his own death at the hands of Horus. But did he back down? No way. He faced that traitor anyway. He did it to buy time, to create an opening, a tiny chink in Horus's armor that would give the Emperor the shot he needed. Sanguinius died, but in that one heroic act, he saved everything.
But that ultimate sacrifice, man, it came with a catastrophic price tag. The psychic shockwave of Sanguinius' death was so powerful it screamed across the galaxy, and it physically and spiritually scarred the DNA, the gene seed, of every single one of his sons. And that is where their awful secret begins.
This psychic scar, it's known as the Flaw. Simple name, terrifying reality. It's basically a genetic curse that's now baked into every Blood Angel. It's this constant gnawing threat inside them, always trying to just overwhelm them, to pull them down into pure madness. And the Flaw, it shows itself in two very distinct, very scary ways.
So every Blood Angel is fighting this war inside himself on two fronts. First up is the Red Thirst. Think of it as this intense physical hunger, a vampiric craving for blood that they have to wrestle with every single day. But then there's the Black Rage, and that's something else entirely. It's not physical, it's psychic. It's like a mental time bomb. When a Blood Angel falls to the Black Rage, he's just gone. His mind completely shatters, and he's forced to relive Sanguinius' death over and over, thinking he is Sanguinius. He just goes berserk, attacking anything and everything in a final, tragic rampage.
And get this, they've been hiding this, fighting the secret war for 10,000 years. Can you even imagine that? The sheer willpower it must take to be seen as these perfect heroes by the entire galaxy while you're constantly fighting the monster inside your own head, that's a burden that's almost impossible to even comprehend.
So that brings us to the Blood Angels of the present day in 40K. They're still out there, they're still protecting humanity. But their biggest, most desperate fight, it's not against orcs or aliens,
It's the war they're fighting against themselves. A battle that happens in the mind of every single Blood Angel, every single day. So what happens when one of them finally loses that fight? You know, when the visions of their Primarch's death just become too much and their mind finally snaps? Well, the Blood Angels have a solution for that. It's grim, but in its own way, it's also merciful.
Here's how it goes down. A Marine finally falls to the Black Rage. He's not himself anymore. His mind is gone, lost in the past. So they take his beautiful red armor and they paint it black, marking it with symbols of death. He's then inducted into what's called the Death Company. These are the lost souls. They're basically pointed at the worst part of the battlefield and just unleashed. It's their one last chance to die a meaningful death in service to the Emperor. A warrior's end for sure, but man, what a tragic way for a hero to go out.
Their leader right now, Commander Dante. This guy is over 1,500 years old. Just think of how many of his brothers, his sons, he's seen fall to the flaw. More than anyone alive, he knows what a knife's edge every single Blood Angel walks their entire life. And his words just capture it perfectly. They are all just one single step away from that abyss. Nobility and total madness, separated by almost nothing.
And really, that leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? What are the Blood Angels? They fight to protect humanity with this incredible grace and fury, but at the same time, they're hiding this monstrous secret. Their very existence is defined by a heroic act that simultaneously saved and damned them forever. So are they heroes fighting a terrible curse? Or are they just monsters hiding behind a pretty face? The real answer, well, it's probably as complicated and tragic as they are.